Oh, we got back to work yesterday. Went through the film, gave him a workout, and then got a little jump on Purdue. And obviously today's the players' day off, and then we'll get back to work tomorrow.
Oh, do you think you guys are fresher at this point of the season because you've cut back your amount of practice time as well as the actual?
The time. Well, yeah, I think we are. Yeah, I think if you ask the players, they would tell you yes. I mean, I think it's been a good schedule. I've I wasn't sure going in how I was going to like it, and I like it for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, I think we are a little bit fresher.
How comfortable is that going into the final month? It's a tough final month, physically, mentally, physically grinding. How important is it to be as fresh as possible?
Well, it gets to be a long year. It does. I mean, it's, because what people don't, forget is that these kids got full class schedules and everything else going on. That, that it can be not just a physical grind, but the mental grind. And the fresher you can keep them, the better off you are. I mean, sometimes it's as much a mental thing as it is a physical thing.
How much, on average, would you say, how much have you shortened practice since then?
I don't know how much the team reps and things have changed. It's not that much different, but it's we've cut through some of the walkthroughs, things like that. That it's probably cuts off. I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood about a half hour a day.
So, like, instead of 2 hours, it might be 90 minutes?
Yeah, our practices usually are right around 90 minutes.
How long are you since your team has put together a clean fourth-quarter game here on Saturday?
Well, I think that's everybody's goal, throughout the country. That the is to, I mean, there were a lot of good things on the tape, but there were a lot of great individual efforts. But like I told the team yesterday, it's about doing it every play, and if you play 60 snaps, it's about having 60 snaps, without having a breakdown, one way or the other. And it's not like it's one guy here, or one guy in particular, or a few guys in particular. It's when guys take their turn. And I said, there's a certain level of mental toughness it takes to, and focus and discipline to do it for 4 quarters, regardless of what the score is, what the circumstances are, situation, whatever it may be. You play one way, and then that's all the time.
The best November we had was in 2009 when the team rattled off a bunch of wins, and also in 2012 when they did the same thing. Was there something about those two teams that now that you look back on it that they did really well, or that jumped out at you about why they finished so strong during the regular season?
Yeah, it's how you prepare, and how you, and are you going to be able to stay focused in, and for the long haul, regardless of whether you get tired, whether you physically, mentally, whatever it may be. It's you got to put your foot on the gas pedal at this time of year, and it's the only way it works. And those are the teams that are going to be standing at the end. That's the way. It's. You're not going to be given anything. You got to go. You got to go take it, and you got to. And that isn't just on Saturday. That means you got to prepare the right way during the week. You got to be focused enough and disciplined enough to bring it to the practice field every single day, because that's where your games are won or lost, and how you prepare.
I think only one quarterback has completed 50% of his passes against you guys. I mean, how would you evaluate your passes?
I think some things have been very good, and like I said, I think it's been inconsistent at times, and some breakdowns. And like I told our guys yesterday, I said I understand that I have that we as coaching staff, and in every phase, we have high expectations, high standards, and you know, it's about the details. That's what carries you through, about being able to play consistently, play the way you're coached consistently, and at times I think we've done that very well, and at times we've had some lulls, some slip-ups, some things that in my mind are inexcusable. And that's where we just, you know, that's where we have to keep growing as a team. And believe me, we're not alone. We're not, you know, that's been this way as long as I've been coaching, which has been for a long time. and that's why you got to keep going as you know, every week's a new challenge, every day's a new challenge. You keep trying to get better. And keep upping your standards, you know, and not be satisfied with where you are. It's about how much more there is. There isn't a guy on our team individually or a football team that is even close to reaching our potential yet. And when you understand that, you know, you understand there's that much more out there for you. You know, that, like I said, you every single week you either get, in my world, you know, you can. Very seldomly do you stay the same. You either get better or you get worse. And but you have to work to get better every single week.
On the long touchdown they had where Nova lots of time, when you reviewed it on film, what would you like to see different from your back end on a play like that?
Excuse me?
On the first quarter touchdown.
Well, we had 3 guys come out of coverage and start chasing a quarterback who was probably going to get tackled on a third and 8, 3rd and 9. Probably would have got tackled for about a 2 or 3 yard gain. And 3 guys came out of coverage. But the whole thing started. I mean, it became a long pass because we were lazy in our technique on the backside, which caused our middle safety to squeeze a route that he shouldn't have had to squeeze because we should have picked up our backside corner, and one thing leads to another. And you know, that's why it's a team game. Everybody's got to be doing their part every play, because if you're lazy in your technique, it affects somebody else and it puts you out of position, and that's how big plays happen. Yeah.
So, kind of going back to what Sam was asking about, the last few years, pretty consistently, there's been maybe a head scratcher or a loss that's happened to this team along the way. Have you learned anything from that as far as how you prepare your guys to avoid that from happening? Because so far you guys are right on track. But is there anything that you've done in learning from some of those surprise losses to guard against that now?
You know, Eric, when you look across the country, there are head scratchers every week, and sometimes people lose games they should lose, or sometimes they shouldn't. They lose games they shouldn't lose. Sometimes they almost do, and you know, it's not easy to you have to constantly you have to play this game on edge. You got to prepare on edge. But your players you got to have respect for this game, because you got to realize how quickly a game can turn, and when you have to prepare in such a way that when you walk on the field, regardless of who you're playing and like I said, what the score is, the circumstances, you got to understand that in this game you're preparing with the understanding that when there are games you're going to walk into where you don't know which play is going to be the difference in the game. That's the way this sport is, and it's been that way for a long time. And you have to prepare yourself, and that has to be your standard every time you walk on the field. And you have to play that way. You have to play with that type of urgency, that sense of urgency all the time. That's how you prepare yourself to be the best you can possibly be. And it takes a across-the-board mentality in order to get that done.
Did you know, the shorter workouts to keep your guys' heads in it better, is that all part of guarding against that?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, that's part of the deal is, you know, you got to play with a high tempo, but, you know, and you have to take advantage of your reps. You know, you can't, when you stay on the clock the way we have and we go we're going at a high tempo, it means you don't have the opportunity, the chance to repeat a ton of plays. And because, otherwise that's what causes you out there for a very long time. And you don't have that luxury. So when you better make the most of your reps, the same way you got to make the most of your reps on Saturday. So you better bring that mentality to the practice field. And where, the day and age of saying, I made that mistake, that won't happen on Saturday. Well, you got to be right during the week. And that's, so you got to prepare accordingly. You got to bring the type of mentality every day, and it's easier said than done. It's bringing that mentality every single day to the practice field. You got to approach practice like you do a game day, and be strong enough mentally to be able to get that to do that.
You recall when Malik Collins came on the radar as a prospect? What do you remember about that process?
We thought he was really talented right off, from the get-go. He was a guy who wrestled, and thought he was a big, explosive, talented athlete, and who was raw, which most guys are at that age. But excuse me, thought there was a very high end to him, and I think that's coming. That's showing that we don't hit a lot of things right, but we hit that one right, because he's going to be. I think he's really talented, and I think he's going to be. He's going to turn into he's a really good player right now. He could become a great player.
Because at the time that you guys started recruiting, you had a lot of offers. There was a lot of exposure on it. Did you really even have a recruiting or anything? Did you watch the film and go, what do you think kept him under the radar for so long?
I don't know. Sometimes it's the area of country you're in, or I don't know. He came from a school, that wasn't, a known football powerhouse, but it was obvious. Coach Garrison, does a great job doing his homework down there in the Kansas City area, and identified him, and it didn't take very long to watch the film and say, wow, this guy is pretty special. So, and all you got to do is look at the draft every year, and that happens across the country year after year, where it doesn't really matter what you're ranked. I mean, there's a lot of good football players out there. You just got to do a good job of identifying them.
Well, when you guys decided on Nate Geary going to safety in the winter, was it based on what felt was best for him? Coverage-wise, backer and safety, mix the two?
No, it was for both of us. I mean, we moved him up there. He played backer up there last year out of necessity to a certain extent, and also because at the time we thought that's where he was needed. But all long term, it was always a plan to move him back to safety, and I've said it before. I think that that experience of him playing up there has helped him. I mean, there's no question in my mind that you can't do that all the time, because everybody doesn't have that kind of size or skill set that's able to play different things and really be able to handle it mentally. But I believe his experience up there has helped him, and he's another guy. I think that he is. I mean, he's got a long way to go, because he's only in his first year starting at safety, but. I foresee him doing some pretty special things before he's out of here. He's a really talented guy who has great instincts for the game.
Did you tell him that when he came in that first August, say, here's what we're going to do with you?
Yeah, he knew he was eventually going to go back to safety.
Has Charlton Warren been just what you hoped he'd be when you hired him?
And more. I think he's a tremendously talented coach who very detailed in his coaching, does a great job. This isn't an easy system to come in and have the head coach, looking over your shoulder all the time, especially at that position, and because I'm more of a back end guy, a secondary guy, linebacker guy, and you know, and this system has kind of evolved over a long period of time, and there's a lot of little details, little things that that changes sometimes week to week, and you would think that he's been coaching in the system for a long time, really understands it, worked really hard at it in the off season, and he's done a great job. He's a really good teacher.
Those guys have had a lot of different coaches at that position. Did you see them buy into him really quickly in that room?
Yeah, I think he hit the ground running. He's an extremely intelligent guy, a great communicator. And like I said, it's not like he picked it up overnight. It took some work on his part, and we spent a lot of time together in the off season and in the meeting room during spring ball and throughout fall camp. And I would say, by the time, I think he gets more comfortable in what we're doing every day, and really gives a lot of valuable input. And he's a really talented coach, really talented.
Coach, you guys have gotten off to some fast starts offensively this year. Last one concluded. Is that the assumption is you just got a really good plan? You guys are ready to go and start. Is that accurate? What's your assessment of why that's happened a few times this year?
I don't know. I think we do. I think we've executed pretty well. I think Coach Beck, does a phenomenal job, and really the whole offensive coaching staff. Those guys do a really good job. Like I said, we're pretty hard to stop when we're not stopping ourselves, and that's the key. Is stop doing the things. Reduce the amount of things that get us off schedule offensively, and take advantage of our opportunities.
Playing with the lead, putting the work out, just how important is it for this team? Just the way that last year it seemed like you guys you were behind a lot and had to tweak some things. So just how much different does it make you as a coach, maybe for you as a coach, call plays defensively versus this team or the team itself?
Well, you always want to play from ahead, but it's not always going to be the case. You just don't know week to week and how it's going to turn out, and how the game's going to play out. That's why you got to be ready to react no matter what the situation is. And but really, we don't really change much other than making adjustments that you have to make. But regardless of what the score is, these games are long. With and let's face it, in this day and age, with as fast as they go, the amount of plays that are run, the amount of throwing sometimes that happens, the games can be long. You can't really change what you're doing and how you're calling the game just based on score. It's not like you can go and sit on it early in the football game. You gotta whether you have a lead or whether you're behind, whatever it may be, you just gotta execute your offense and stick with your plan. And I mean, I think a good example of that was the Michigan State game. There was, even though we were behind, we didn't take advantage of some opportunities. There was no panic there. We just kept playing. You keep playing and look for your opportunities and look for your try to take advantage of things that can get you back in the game. But there can't be a sense of panic just because you're behind. Or I think at times we've on both sides of the football at times have been when we become our own worst enemy at times have been when we've been ahead. And I don't know whether there's been a sense of let up or a lull that has happened there where things have happened where I don't know whether guys felt like, hey, the game's in hand or whatever it may be. That's when some of our sloppiness have happened, and there's no excuse for that.
Kenny has obviously caught a lot of balls for you guys. Is there a catch or two that sticks out to you, maybe your favorite catch that Kenny Bellis made over the years?
Oh, I don't know. He's made so many. I mean, he's had a great career, and he's been Kenny Bell has been an absolute pleasure to coach. And, just forget about just football-wise, but how he's grown as a man over that period of time has been fun to watch, his evolution. And, he's been a great kid to coach. And it's been very rewarding to see him accomplish what he's been able to accomplish. But I mean, I think of that catch he made against Illinois last year was pretty special, and he made a phenomenal catch. I remember, I think it was in the Michigan State game down by the goal line. Those were two that kind of stick out in my head. But he's made so many great plays.
What do you know about Purdue? They played a lot better the last month. Close game to Minnesota, Illinois win. What have you seen from them and how they got that?
I think they're a well-coached football team who has gotten better. You know, you watch them where they were a year ago compared to now, it's like night and day. And I think, you know, I mean, which doesn't surprise me. Darrell Hazel's a heck of a coach, and he has some really good coaches on that staff. You know, Shoop over there running their offense, who's been around the game a long time and is a really good coach. And you know, they do a good job defensively. I mean, they. You know, it's a program that's on the come. You know that I think they're going to continue to get better. You know, you see the good coaching. The kids play very hard. They're very sound in what they do.
They've got two pretty good running backs in terms of speed. I think one's like a Big Ten spring champion. What do those guys do, and how do they use those guys in situations?
You know, I think they do a lot of different things to kind of, you know, try and create space for those guys. I think, like I said, I think they have a good understanding of what people are trying to do against them and game plan very well. They have their different wrinkles that they mix in there, and you know, try to do as many things as they can to get those, you know, a couple of those guys that they have, real playmakers out in space, and you know, where they have, you know, room to work.
I think it's the second year in a row you're playing them off the bye. It's different than last year against you. You just kind of caution your guys and say, hey, there might be an instance where they do some different things. All 10 break percents.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. We'll see some things that are a little bit different. We always tend to, on both sides of the football, that happens to us almost on a weekly basis. And so, you know, that's something that we, you know, we're used to dealing with. And I'm sure Purdue is, you know, I'm sure that they, you know, they kind of have hit their stride a little bit offensively. And so, you know, I would expect we're going to see some different things formation-wise and some things we're going to have to make some quick adjustments to.
Stats-wise, Zaire Anderson's having a real good year. Is the same thing on film? Is keep playing at the level you want?
Yeah, I think Zaire's done some really good things. But, you know, I think that, you know, once again, you know, there's a lot more out there for Zaire, too. I mean, you know, the one thing about Zaire, he's going to play hard, he's going to play physical. And, you know, you just got to, you know, continue to work on a consistency, his understanding, his, you know, being able to adapt during the games. I think he's come a long way. But, you know, every day he walks out onto the practice field, he works so hard, but he needs to keep growing. It's like just like the rest of the group.
What's the biggest jump he's made to become more of an every down guy for you as opposed to like a situational?
I think the mental part of the game is really his understanding of, forget about just what we're doing defensively, but what offenses are trying to do, how it works according to what our scheme is, and his understanding has just grown, you know, and I think he's a lot more confident, and I think it shows in how he plays, because he's playing a lot faster and a lot more decisive than you know, where he was a year or so ago.
What's the status of Gibbons Price?
He's back to practice now.
And then Marl Bondi, I saw him. Is he going to be able to kick again this year?
Yeah, I would anticipate Morrow will be back, if not this week, probably for the Wisconsin game.
Do you plan to bring him back out and as the kickoff guy, or?
We'll see how he comes back out of it, and how he feels health-wise, and you know, but yeah, if he's at the, you know, if he can get up to the level he was before he got hurt.
But he was Spencer Lindsay, I think, in the second half, to just kind of get him to look.
Yeah, Spencer's done really well. Spencer Lindsay's really done real well since Morrow's been out. So, you know, that presents a good problem to have. You know, I mean, you can never have enough good kickers, right? Can I believe it? don't know, when you're in my seat, it feels like this regular season's been about 3 years long. But, no, but yeah, it goes quick at times. It's been, when we walked out there the other day, and you realize it seemed like forever since we'd played a home game. But, yeah, it can go quick.
You have some fun with Josh Mitchell at all after the play? I mean, how do you react to something like that, I guess? I mean, he's a lighthearted guy. I'm sure he knows he wasn't like smart, but.
Yeah, I was, I guess, dumbfounded when I saw him do what he did. I was like, I don't know. And I love Josh, but like I said, what he was thinking, you talk to Josh. I don't know. I mean,
Who was he trying to pitch it to?
I don't think anybody. I don't know what he was doing. Honestly, what happened there is when, and it goes back to, on a PAT, if you block it, you keep the ball alive. And somewhere in there, because it doesn't matter, there's no change of possession involved. And for some certain level of insanity kicked in, and he reverted back to, hey, keep the ball alive on a PAT. But it was a field goal. So, hey, but it was number one, we as coaches got to make sure that when you make a coaching point like that you make sure that understanding goes, that they completely understand what you're saying. And Josh understood it, but it's in the heat of the moment, some voice in his head had Coach Pelini telling him, keep the ball alive. So, we all have those little voices in our head all the time, some more than others. But he had one right at that point.
How nice has it been to watch Amir have the type of season he's having for Big Ten offensive player of the week so far?
Well, when a guy like Amir, you want him to get, I'm happy for him. And, it's interesting, Amir, he's not caught up in all that stuff right now, but I think, hopefully, he'll continue, he'll finish out this year the way he wants to finish it out, both individually and team-wise, and he'll be able to look back on this, with a lot of pride, with the things that he's been able to accomplish are pretty special.
Does it bug you that he's not in a lot of people's top 5 for Heisman?
Does it bug me? Yeah, it does a little bit, but I got I could talk for a half an hour on that whole situation and how that goes, but it's not just this year; it's year after year. I take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. Just watch the film. That's all you got to do.
He passed Archie Griffin on Saturday. Do you think he understands, guys in this team understand the significance of passing a guy like Archie Griffin for all-purpose yardage?
I don't. Is Amir even aware of that? I don't know. Like I said, he's not real. That's for later on when it's over. And but passing a guy with what Archie was able to do was, that caught my attention obviously because I was thinking about calling Archie up and telling him, hey, see, you weren't as good as you thought you were. No, no, Archie's a great guy, and but obviously growing up in Ohio, it sure caught my attention.
Anything else for Coach?
Thanks, guys.